Greetings everyone. We will continue our discussion on object-oriented programming through C++. In the previous session, we have looked about what are the various programming paradigms we have, that is monolithic programming, structure-oriented programming, procedure-oriented programming, and object-oriented programming. In the last session, we have looked about what is object orientation and what is object-oriented technology, what is the basics of object-oriented technology, and how it will differ from conventional programming technologies. That is, how your object-oriented programming is different from your conventional programming technologies. In this session, we will be looking at what are the various key concepts of object-oriented programming. We are going to have a list of object-oriented programming key concepts. We will be looking at some of these in this session and we will continue the remaining in the next session. Okay. So, in the last session, I have already told you about what are the advantages of your object-oriented programming. So, in object-oriented programming, we are going to mainly emphasize on the data rather than on your solutions. Okay, we will be more concerned about the data, how you are going to provide security to the data, how you are going to store the data, how you are going to place the data in your program. So, instead of, I already told you in procedure-oriented languages, we will be placing the data mostly in global section. But in object-oriented data, each and every object will be having its own data. Okay, so the emphasis will be more on the data here, and we are going to divide the particular program into set of objects. In conventional, we will be dividing the program into functions. In object-oriented, we are going to divide the particular program into objects. Next, the data is hidden and cannot be accessed by external functions. Okay, as I already told you, each and every object will be having its own data, and whatever that is going to be present can be accessed by the object methods, and it will not be accessed by external methods so easily. Next, the functions which operate on the data and the data itself are tied together in the object. Okay, so the functions whatever you are going to use are the methods which you are going to use on the objects, and whatever the data that is present, all will be present as a part of the object. Okay, and objects may communicate with each other by using the message passing. Okay, we will be looking at all those terms in the next further slides. And new data and functions can be quite easily added because of your bottom-up approach of your object-oriented programming. So, your object-oriented programming follows the bottom-up approach. As a result, we can add new functionality and new items much easily compared to your procedure-oriented or conventional programming languages. How you are going to add, this is going to provide you all the advantages, we will be seeing as a part of your key concepts of your object-oriented programming. So, the key concepts of your object-oriented programming is, the first we will be looking at what is an object, then we will be looking at what are classes, then methods. After that, we will be looking at other important concepts, that is data abstraction, data encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, dynamic binding, message passing, reusability, delegation, and genericity. Okay, we are having all these 12 different key concepts of object-oriented programming. These object-oriented programming concepts are not just limited to C++. All these things will be present in vast number of object-oriented programming languages. And what are the programming languages that might be supported? So most of these things will be supported by most of the object-oriented languages. Okay, in the further sessions we will be looking at what are the various object-oriented programming languages we have and which language will support which key concepts present here. Okay, we will be looking at them in the next sessions. Okay, for the time being, we will be looking at all these particular 12 key concepts one by one. So the first one, objects. So in the last session, I gave you a brief introduction to objects. So objects are nothing but the real world entities. Okay, so whatever that you perceive in the real world can be treated as an object. So the programming objects are selected taking a reference from real world objects. Okay, so it might be a living thing or it might not be a living thing, it may be a non-living thing. All the things which you pursue in the real world can be treated as an object. So your desk can be treated as an object, your computer can be treated as an object, your cat can be treated as an object. So whatever that you look in the real world can be treated as an object. Okay, so that is basically how to think about. So whenever you are trying to solve a problem, you have to look at it as what are the objects present in the particular system. So you have to think about what are the objects and how they are going to relate with each other. You have to relate each and every object with one another. So we have to think in these terms. So trying to solve a problem in object orientation mainly deals with identifying your objects. Okay. Next one. So every object will be having its own state and behavior. So in the last session itself I gave you this one. Each and every object will be having its own state and behavior. The state is usually referred to as properties in object-oriented programming. So each and every object will be having its own properties. The property could be name and what are the other things which the particular object is identified with. Okay, so the behavior is usually referred as methods. Okay, so each and every object will be having its own state and behavior. The state is nothing, or it will be called as properties in object-oriented programming. The behavior will be calling it as methods here. So basically you have to remember that every object will be having its own properties and methods. So the properties could be, for example, if you take the dog, so the properties could be the name of that particular dog, the color of the dog, the breed of the dog. And the behavior could be its barking, its wagging tail. Okay, those are the behaviors. So this is just a simple example of real world object where each and every object will be having its own properties like name, okay, color, breed. It will be having its own behaviors or operations which will be performed by that particular object. So this is a real world example. We'll look in other how technical examples will be present. Okay, so an object is basically an instance of class. Okay, so this thing will not be understanding now. If you look at the classes next, we'll be understanding that particular thing more definitely. So objects occupy space in the memory. Okay, as you have to remember that objects and classes are quite interrelated and you will be getting confused with each another. So but you have to remember that both are related with each other. So while classes doesn't have space or it doesn't have memory, objects will be having its own memory. Each and every object will be having a memory or space available to it. Okay, first remember this one. I will clarify the remaining things in the classes. The state of an object can be identified by the values present in its variable at a particular instance of time. Okay, each and every object will be having, as I already told you, it will be having its own properties and methods. Okay, the state of an object will be defined by what are the values present in the particular object. Okay, what are the values present in the properties of each and every object. So what is the name of that particular thing, what is the breed, what is the color. Okay, so for this example, it might not change. For some examples, for example, if you take your bank account, okay, your bank account is an object. Okay, your account would be having properties like you will be having your account number. Okay, you might be having your balance. Okay, these two might be your properties of your account. So a particular state of an object. So state of an object will be described by what is the value of this particular account number, what is the balance at a particular instance of time. So this balance could be modified over time period. Okay, it will be some number at a particular instance of time, it might be changed by a different number at a next instance of time. So the state of an object will be defined by what are the values or what is the particular value present in a particular property at a particular instance of time. Okay, so as the instance of the time changes, these values also could change. Okay, so that is the thing about objects. Each and every object will be having space and it will be having a state. The state will be defined by what are the values of the properties at a particular instance of time. That will be calling it as the state of an object. Okay, so these are the things. So each and every object will be having space and the state of an object will be defined by the values present in its variables or properties at a particular instance of time. Okay, so an object is an instance of class. Instance of class means, so I will clarify this one when you are dealing with classes. Next one, the state of an object varies in time according to the methods applied upon them. So each and every object state will be modified based upon the methods applied upon that particular object. So to come back your account example, if you are having account and if you are having your account number and balance, so these are your properties. So these two are your properties. Okay, and you can be having methods. Methods could be, you could be withdrawing your money. This is an operation of your account, or you could be depositing money. Okay, these two methods will be applied upon these particular data items. Okay, your methods will be applied upon your particular data items. Your withdraw will be applied upon the balance. Your deposit can be applied upon your balance. So when you are dealing with your particular methods, so each method could modify this particular balance. So that is the thing here. So the state of the object, as I already told you in the previous slide. So the state of the object is the values present in the particular properties at a particular instance of time. So but this state of the objects varies in time according to the methods applied upon them. So based upon the, when you are applying a particular method, the particular property values also change. As a result, the state of the object also will change. Okay, so that is about this thing. Data objects communicate with one another by sending messages. Okay, this will be one object, that might be your account of A. There will be another account of B. Okay, there could be another account B. These are two different objects. You should remember, account A is one object, account B is another object. If account A is account B is transferring data into account A, okay, you are indirectly modifying the balance of account A. Okay, so this communication will be done through messages. Okay, so when one object tries to communicate with another object, it has to send message. Next, this is an example of book object. So book object also will be having its own properties and methods. So the properties will be name of that particular object. So author of the object, pages of the particular book object. Okay, so and this particular thing is the particular values at the particular instance. Okay, this is one object. You could be having another book objects also. Okay, for the time being, know that you are reading with only one object, and that particular object contains properties, name, author and pages, and it is having two methods, read and highlight. So you could be reading the particular page, or you could be highlighting some contents in the particular book. Okay, these are the methods which you can perform on the book. So these are the operations which you can perform on the book. So basically, you have to get an idea about what is an object. So object is anything, a real world entity which will be having its own properties or variables, and it will be having its own methods. So the properties will tell what is the object, what is the name of the object, what are the things which define the particular object. The methods will tell what are the operations which will be performed on that particular object. Okay, so every system which you are going to design or develop has to be seen in this manner. Okay, so every object has to be having in this particular sense. So these are the values present at a particular instance of time. You could modify those values with methods. Okay, so this is an example of a book object. Next, the next thing is classes. So I told you already, classes and objects are related with each other. So a class is nothing but a grouping of objects that have identical properties with common behavior and shared relationship. Okay, so what is the thing of a class? Class is nothing but a group of objects which are related together, having same properties and same behavior and some relationship. Okay, in the previous example I told you, we are having one book object. Okay, okay, that could be your C++ book. There could be another book which relates to your C. Okay, there could be another book which relates to your Java. So there are multiple books here. So these three books will become three different objects. But as you could see, all these three objects are related in one way. So all these three things are books. Okay, all three things are books. We could group these three particular things into one class called as class book. Okay, so book is nothing but, what you can see as a class is nothing but a group of related objects with similar properties. What are the similar properties? In the previous example I told you, each and every book will be having its own name, name of the book, who is the author and the number of pages. Okay, C++ book will be having its own pages, name and author. and the C also will be having its own name, number of pages, and the author. Java book also will be having its own particular name of the book, each having the same properties, and all these three things will be having a similar methods. Okay, they will be having the read method, highlight method. Okay, so from this you could see these are related objects. So the grouping of related objects that have same properties and same methods can be made as one class. So class is nothing but grouping related objects. Okay, a class acts as a blueprint for your objects. So blueprint for your objects mean, so we will not be creating first the object, we will first be creating the classes. Okay, from this you have to understand that first you have to create a class, from the class we will be creating the object. Just like in your particular real world sense, first you will be creating the blueprint, from the blueprint you will be actually creating the main entity. For example, if you are building some particular project or we are trying to construct one building, first we have to have the blueprint. From the blueprint we will be building the actual building. Okay, in the same manner, first we have to create the class. Class is nothing but the blueprint. From the blueprint we will be creating your objects. So first we will be creating the classes, then we will be creating the objects. So your class will act as the blueprint for your objects. So a class is nothing but a grouping of your objects, and it will act as blueprint for your objects. So remember, first you have to create the class, then only you have to create your objects. Next, as you could see, this is an example of a car. So first you will be having your car example. Car will be each and every car will be having its own blueprint like this. So every car will be having same type of properties. Whatever that is present inside will be different, but the outline will be similar. So each and every car will be having a similar blueprint. From this class car, we will be creating various objects. In the same manner, from the class car, we will be creating multiple objects. Okay, as you could see, first you have to create a you have to create a class. From the class you have to create your objects. In the same manner, you have to create the class. From the class you will be creating your objects. Your class will act as the blueprint, and this doesn't have any memory. Okay, so your blueprint doesn't have any real world entity. Blueprint will be just something on the paper. Okay, from this paper you will be creating the actual objects. So actual objects, that is one will be one object you can see. You cannot see your blueprint, that is the blueprint doesn't have any real world entity. It will be just a paper. Paper is separate object. So each and every class will not be having any memory, that is will not be having any space to that one, but your objects will be having memory. They could be identified. So this is why your class will act as instances to your objects. Okay, your objects will act as instances to your classes. Okay, your class will act as blueprint to your objects. Okay, so this is the relation between your classes and objects. So the first you have to create a class, that is you have to create a blueprint. From the class you have to create the objects. Okay, these objects will be having similar properties like your class. Okay, the next thing, so a class is an abstract data type. Okay, so I think you know what is a data type. So from the data type I will try to make you understand what is an abstract data type. Okay, so data type, I think you know you are having various data types in your C language like int, float, char, double. So each and every data type will be using to create, what will be using to create? Will be using to create variables. Okay, will be using to create your variables. Where A is your variable. Okay, so in the same manner your class will be used to create objects. Okay, your class will be used to create your objects. A will be of this particular class type. Okay, so basically your class will act as a data type. So using the class only you will be creating objects. Just like you are using integer to create an integer variable, you will be using classes to create your objects. The second thing, abstraction, okay, or abstract. Okay, so abstract means you'll be learning about data abstraction in the next few slides. For the time being, know that abstract is nothing but we are going to hide something. Okay, we will not be telling each and everything about the thing. but you are going to hide the particular details. Okay. So what is abstract data type means? You need not be concerned about what is present in the class. You have to just create objects of the particular class. Okay. So particular, for example, if you are having class book, so we'll be creating the class, and with that class we'll be using the class to create book B1. So using the class will be creating your objects. Okay, this will be a simple class. Using the class will be creating your objects. Okay, so a class is nothing but an abstract data type. I think you know what is a data type. Data type will be used to create your variables of a particular data, and in the same manner you will be using the classes to create your variables. You will have clear idea in later sessions about this particular thing. For the time being, know that this is an abstract data type. In your data structures, you should have come about what is an abstract data type while dealing with your data structures. It defines the variables and methods that act upon the data structure. Okay, so your class will define what are the properties of that particular object and what are the methods of the particular object. Okay, so your class will contain the blueprint. Blueprint means what are the properties you have for the object and what are the methods which will be operated on those properties. All these things, that is the properties and methods, will be defined by your class. Okay, the variables and methods will be present in your class itself. Objects are nothing but variables of type class. Okay, as I told you in the abstract data type, variables of type class. Objects are nothing but variables of type class. Once the class has been created, the programmer can create any number of objects associated with a particular class. Okay, once you create a class like this, you have created a class book. Using the book, you can create any number of objects. You can create book B1, this is one object, B2 another object, B3 another object. Just like integers, you can create objects here. So if you are having integers, you should have created int A, B, C like this. Those are integers. A, B, C will become integers. Now B1, B2, B3 will become objects of type book. Okay, which is a book class. So once you have declared your class, or once you have created your class, from the class you can create n number of objects based upon your requirements. So that is about classes. So this is a overview of how your class will be present. So basically classes came from structures in C language. I think you should have remembered structures in C language. So in structures in C language, we used to have the struct keyword. You should have used the struct name, and you should have used the particular thing, and at the end you should have closed it by a semicolon, and inside this particular thing you could have written your variables. Okay, you can be having any number of variables like this. So basically your classes were derived from the structures. Okay, so instead of struct we are going to use the keyword class. Okay, class person. So person is the particular class name, and char name, that is the first property of the particular person is name. The second property is ID. Okay, you'll be learning about this public later. For the time being, know that public means it can access anything in this particular class. Okay, the second thing is these two are what will be having your properties. We'll be calling which properties are variables. So these are properties and variables of your particular class, and this is the method. Okay, this void get details. Get details is the method you are using here. Get details method will be used to return the details of a particular person. Okay, so you have to write code for this get details function later. For the time being, know that this is a declaration of a class. A class will be just similar like your structure, except that it will be having class keyword, and inside this will be having your particular properties or variables. Then we will be having your methods. Okay, so once after writing your properties, variables, methods, we will be closing it here. After that, this will be written just like in the structures in the global declaration section. Later inside the main we'll be creating your objects. Person, that is will be the name of the class person, P1. So you have created P1 object. You have created a P1 object using the particular class person. Okay, this is how you are going to use classes and your objects. Now remember one thing. So when you write this particular class, when you declare this particular class, no memory will be assigned to the particular class. This is just a blueprint. There will not be memory assigned to this particular class. Once after declaring an object P1, okay, once after declaring an object P1, now P1 will be having its own memory. That is, P1 will be having its own memory for name. P1 also will be having its own memory for ID. Okay, P1 will be having memory for name, P1 will be having memory for ID. So when you declare class, you will not be getting any memory, but when you declare an object, each and every object will be having its own separate memory. That is, if this is 20 bytes and this is 4 bytes, complete 24 bytes memory will be assigned to your particular object. Okay. Next, if you are declaring another person, that is person P2, if you are creating another object P2, now P2 will be also assigned another 24 bytes. So like this, each and every object will be having its own separate memory. So P1 will be having separate 24 bytes of memory, P2 also will be having separate 24 bytes of memory. In this manner, your classes and objects will be having your particular thing. Class will be having will not be having memory, and objects will be having memory. So this is about your classes. So you are having other concepts of your object oriented programming, that is, you are having methods, data abstraction, encapsulation, and inheritance, and many other concepts. We'll be looking at all these concepts in the further classes. We'll wrap up this session and we'll continue about all these concepts in the further session. Thank you.